Could you give me the audio, please?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
From this or from the mics?
No, from the...
Oh. So, hello and welcome to haQ attaQ at Thomann Synth Reactor. I'm sitting here with S from Elektron, and you're about to show us some cool stuff on the model samples.
We talked about this yesterday, like doing some single cycle stuff, like the waveform. So like taking a really short piece of a wave and looping it. So
yeah, I do that a lot at home.
Yeah.
But I've never used the Elektron Model samples. I just think it's cool thing, and I just want to learn more about it. So I want to see what you do with it when you do that. Like a single cycle sample is a very, very, very short sample. It's just one wave.
It's just one period, as it's called, like a period of a wave. So it's just one sine wave, literally. Then you loop it. Depending on how fast it plays back that loop, it becomes pitch. So like. These two tracks here, 5 and 6, if I turn off loop on that, it sounds like it's just a little click, but if you loop it, it becomes a nice wave. There's also this one. There's a few different nice timbres there. This sample engine we have on here is sort of it's also available on the Rhythm and the Digitakt. They're sort of similar. So what I do on these devices is sort of I write a melody in my DAW, and I do like a polyrouting to it. So it plays chords and stuff. So like I use 2 tracks as 2 voices.
I gotta ask you, like, where does the material come from for the single cycle?
So these are generated in a max patch that just, you can draw like each bar, and it generates these waves. And
so like how hard is it to get the actual material from what you did over to the model samples?
Yeah, so we transfer samples from a computer via USB. It doesn't sample, it just plays back samples. So you have to load it via our app called Transfer, and you just drag and drop them onto the transfer window, and they end up in these directories. Like here you can see it's in the waves folder, which I put them in, and we can navigate the file system a little bit.
So it's got a nice file system in there too.
It's like a kind of classic file system, but this one is a bit friendlier looking than our other ones, since it's a bit more of a little bit of more friendlier looking device in terms of like graphics and stuff, little cute folder icons. And
so does the model samples connect to like iDevices like iPhone and iPad?
Yeah, exactly. So this one is class compliant, audio and Midi. So you can connect it to an iPad and stream audio from it onto it.
But so when you connect it to the iPad and you're streaming audio into it, does that end up like a multi-track thing, or does it end up like, because it's got 6 tracks?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's actually single track. I don't know actually if that's a technical limitation. I would assume so. So it doesn't do multi-track, unfortunately, but that would have been cool. Not sure if that's possible.
Yeah, of course it would have been cool, but it's nice to know that, because I'm on iOS, and many of my viewers are on iOS, and so that's something I definitely wanted to check. Definitely wanted also to ask something more, because there's also like a battery pack that might be coming for this one I've seen, but we'll wait with that, because some of you just want to see what you can actually do with this. So what can we do with it, like filters, envelopes?
So the other tracks here, 1, 2, 3, I have some drums. And what's kind of cool about like this track, the bass drum track, is that it's playing back multiple different samples, and this is actually a new feature for this week. It's probably not even released yet, because maybe there is a bug. But it was supposed to be. But anyway,
are you supposed to talk about that?
I don't know. Maybe this is something that wasn't in the device from the beginning, but we wanted it to be there, and it's a very popular feature called sample locking. So these steps that are blinking, they have this this lock to the step. It's essentially automation. And what this specific one does is exchange the sample. If I hold down the button here, you see the sample
Yeah, it lights up.
Light up, and that's because I've loaded this clap on this step. And I can do this for any step. I can go into this one and select, like, maybe I want to, oh, this is the sample log folder. So maybe I want to go into, maybe I want a little TB cat.
Okay, that's brilliant. That is brilliant, yeah.
It's quite, and you can lock about, I think, 24 sounds on each pattern, like 24 additional samples to the ones you have assigned. Everybody was asking for it, and we were like, yeah, I mean, we were gonna do it, and we were like, yeah, we have to do it.
There's a lot of people out there gonna be really happy about that.
Of course, I mean, it makes it, I mean, before you could only have 6 samples in total per pattern, and I mean, that's fine, but it means you need to think about things a bit way before you do it, perhaps.
Yeah.
And this one is a bit more fluid. You can like, oh, I want this track to have the clap. Also, if we listen to this is just 16 steps, by the way, but a lot of things will happen when we listen to it for a while.
What happened there?
Exactly, yeah. So on this trig, suddenly we see all of these LEDs next to the knobs light up. And what this means is that these are parameter locked. And this is also our automation thing. This is sort of Elektron's claim to fame, I would say.
Yeah, you'll find them in the Digitakt.
Exactly.
And the
This
Digitone,
is sort of what's been the thing on all our devices since the original machine drum in 2001, and this is sort of the thing that makes these things so cool. And any step I can go in and edit the sound. So this one I could do like the bass drum, maybe pitch it up 7 semitones, make it a bit shorter, change the sample start and the sample length, maybe send it to the delay and the reverb. Then I can just copy that and paste it a few times.
That is so, I mean, for creative,
it's very fast and just fun. And also what's another really cool feature that was added a few years ago, or we developed a few years ago, is this this knob is called chance. When you're just controlling it on without entering any data into the sequencer.
Is this a conditional thing?
Exactly. So this is what's called conditional trigs on our other devices, and here we sort of divide it into 2. So chance controls the probability of a trigger actually happening. So when it's on like 50%, there is 50% chance that it won't actually make a sound. And what we can do with that is really cool is if we hold down track here, it says Control All underneath that, and what that means is when you twist any of these knobs while holding tracks, it will affect all of the tracks. So I can do like if I save my pattern beforehand, just. It becomes like a performance thing, and you can do that with the chance like this. So then you like change the chance of everything happening, and it's just a neat little trick. And when you're not just twisting it and you're entering in the sequencer, the functionality is a bit extended. So this particular step that does that little plop, it actually only does that every 4th time of the loop. So this is now called Trig Condition, and that means that there is a logical condition that it would happen. So 4 out of 4 means that on the 4th count of the loop, this will happen.
I don't like too much randomness.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I want to be able to control stuff.
So this is like a way to introduce a lot of variation but retain control. And I think I'm much like you. I don't really like the chance thing for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool, but I don't really like when things repeat in a way that I want it to. And I think the trigger condition like that is really cool to make a very complex pattern without having to. Like you could extend the page across 64 steps But a lot of the time I prefer to do these sort of trigger conditions because it lets me keep working in this small 16-step grid, and it's just a bit less things to keep in your head. And also you can do like, we can do this, the plop, maybe a different different frequency. We can do it that it will only happen on the third of each loop, or the second of the second time out of 3.
Yeah.
So it will be sort of polymetric way of doing it. Yeah, so now it really becomes alive, because then you have several elements looping in different. It becomes very complex quick without being very hard to do, I think.
I'm already loving it. Maybe a lot of my viewers would be like, no, Jakob, please just let him go. But I really want to know about like something that I saw a lot of viewers asking about when they saw like this thing come out was like, is there a full envelope? What is the envelope? What does it, what can you do with it? I wanted to know too.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So since it has this sort of layout with all the parameters on a dedicated knob, which is actually a first for us. All of our devices have had like more of a 4 encoders or more or less, and a few pages you would like move between, and then it would alter the functionality of those encoders.
Yeah,
and the screen would sort of help you understand how it worked. With this one, each knob has a dedicated functionality, and that also means that panel space is more of an issue. You have to sort of figure out what are the best elements to keep. So that means cutting a few corners, but the corners are cut in the right way. So the envelope for the sample engine is you have just decay for the amplifier, the amp. So that's basically just. And it's an exponential decay, so it's quite snappy. But what you can also do if you want to do like, that's all right, let's load this. And it also pitches the sample chromatically.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so what we can do actually with the LFO is use it as an envelope. And so we can change the waveform here. We have like triangle, sine, square, but then we have one that's called env, and this turns it into an envelope. So that's more the filter being modulated now. And if we want to do like stuff like turn it into like a bass drum, let's not do that much, but 2 octaves up, maybe more. Oh, that's a bit much depth.
Right, that's nice.
So now we're using it as a pitch envelope. You can actually do quite a lot. So I think if we take a sample that is a bit more harmonically rich, quite nice. But let's do something really naughty and modulate the sample start, and that's really not nice,
right?
Especially not when it's this small. But and also let's do max speed and max depth. Change it to maybe a triangle and. So now we have something that sounds percussive, and if we then also apply some filter. So this filter is again, since we have to move things around in terms of like control this, the cutoff is actually a mix between high pass and low pass. So if you turn it counterclockwise, it reduces harmonics, reduces it's a low pass, and if you turn it clockwise, it starts taking away the lows. So if we make it really steep and add some resonance, we made a hi-hat.
This is so nice. This is so. I just want to get into it myself.
And it's quite surprising how far you can go with these simple controls. Obviously, I have the Digitakt and the rhythm, and I'm not an Octatrack user because I kind of like to stay in a bit simpler things. But I think for this one, it's a lot of fun to do just quick drums on it. I really like, for instance, this. Just a little, it's kind of quick to just
it's really
and for this one I really like, because on the Digitakt I never used the sample length, I used the envelope. Really like it for doing like quick drum tracks. I really like the result there.
For me at least, I like having knobs. I'm used to using smaller devices with less stuff on it, and I've done a lot of menu diving, but sometimes I just want to have that like per knob function and stuff. So I have to ask about that. Like the things you see here are the things that are there basically. So there are no hidden things underneath. There are some here where you see gray text.
Yes. So for the most part, it's just, it is what it is. But some things are very depressing without some more control. Like the reverb, you kind of need to control the tone of it. So the reverb size is this nice box that becomes larger or smaller when you
I like that design.
If I hold on function, that's the gray text there, which sort of the underline sort of indicates.
And then we're into reverb tone.
Yeah, and this one sort of makes it either darker or lighter. And delay as well is delay time.
Yeah, it also has like
and this has the feedback as a secondary function, which is of course very important to be able to
I think so.
Control
the feedback. So okay, what about? I hope there's swing in there.
Yeah, that's this knob right here.
Swing and nudge. There's a double function there.
So these that have the slash, just like chance and condition. So when you're at sort of not holding down a button, it's just swing. So you're just applying these, twisting these the tracks sort of.
Right. Just add that swing back, man.
Exactly. I'm not so swingy, but we'll I'm sorry. But what you can also do is when you're doing the parameter locking, I can nudge, and so this is just micro timing. So that's if you have very specific, you have a specific swing you want to add in, or when you live record unquantized, this is how it will sort of be represented. So nudge is micro timing. So this lets you play.
So you can record stuff unquantized?
Yeah, definitely. So now we're doing, when we press record and play, it's live recording. And I've set it to quantized, but we can set it to unquantized by just pressing it. It will toggle between those modes by pressing rec and play.
Okay.
So unquantized, you can do this sort of, this is the hi-hat, I guess. Maybe I muted that, Yeah, so it's exactly as bad and sloppy as I played it.
If you have recorded it unquantized, is there an option of quantizing it afterwards?
Yeah, exactly. So let's just clear that. So these trigs now have some nudge, and that's why it lights up. So everything that gets recorded in the unquantized mode ends up as a nudge. So it's the same sort of fidelity. So you can go in and like, oh, maybe I want it even sloppier or not at all. And this you can do per trig, or you can also go into the quantize menu. So this is a global quantize for all of them, and then you can just adjust how much it will correct everything.
When you say global, is it global for just this track?
Everything is for the pattern on this. So it's global for the pattern. And you can also go into and do it per track. You can also apply the quantize, which means that maybe you like want to because this is non-destructively this quantization. This just applies sort of a filter, you could say, and you could then turn the quantization off again.
So you're not messing it up forever?
No. This is just adjusting it for the time being. But you can also hit apply, and that will do it destructively. So that will actually correct the trigs. I mean, it's still an Elektron device.
Yeah.
It's simple and direct, but it's still quite deep, and it has a lot of. I mean, it's got a few menus, which, I mean, we've tried to think about not putting essential stuff there. So it's little tweaks and little settings that are in the menus. But yeah, there's retriggering as well, which I can show. Like if we take this hi-hat track and just add the last fourth, so if I press retrig there, I go to the retrig, the trig repeat menu. And if I press the data knob, I can turn that on and that will light up. I can change how fast the retrig will be, like how many times per this trig it will retrigger the sound, and then I can change how long it should do that. So this is a quarter of a beat, and that makes sense. So it has.
That's quite straightforward, actually.
And
the way you did that now was you hold down the step first and then press retrig?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay.
And you can also hold down retrig.
And do it on...
and also like...
Will it record that if you do that?
Yeah, for sure. So I can do a really dumb... Yeah, the velocity was weird there, but but you can for sure record the retrigs and everything.
You said velocity. Are these velocity sensitive?
Are velocity sensitive.
So they're velocity sensitive also. Yes, everything becomes better if you repeat it twice. God. Now I'm so curious. Because I saw in like a product shot or something, I saw a thing that would sit on the side. Yeah, and I thought that would be a battery pack. So
yeah, we have some very curious.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. We have some very curious holes and little rubber things you can remove. So I guess the video guys are going to be upset now. But
they don't have to do anything.
Here's a DC jack. Maybe you can switch to the top. There we go. Yeah, it's a bit out of focus. What that there we go. What that does is it's a power input for about, I think it's 5 volt, and that will power the unit. So that means you can connect, I mean, a lot of USB power hubs or stuff, and we're also gonna make a battery handle. And what that means is it's a little handle that goes on top of the device. So it screws into these holes. Yeah. And there's a cable going into this DC jack, and essentially a tube, and you put in AA batteries.
Right.
Because, and we didn't want to deal with lithium, and having AA means you can exchange the batteries at any time. It's quite nice, and it's not proprietary or anything. So it's a pretty simple way of just adding battery power to it. I can't talk about when it will be available or the price.
Yeah, you know I was going to ask that anyway.
Of course. But it's a bit of an unknown at the moment. But I mean, it's coming along really nicely. There have been some delays on that for various reasons, but it's being worked on, and it will be a pretty nimble handle. Like it will sort of extend this much, because a lot of people have been asking, how much bulk will it add? Not much. And what's nice about it is that it folds below the machine, so it kind of props it up. Like this.
So it becomes a stand?
Yeah, exactly. So it folds under it, and it's sort of this angle, and it's quite nice. Yeah.
How many AAs?
Ooh, That's a really...
Do you know that?
No.
Right, but it runs on 5 volts.
Yeah.
And it...
do the math.
Yeah,
YouTube.
okay. Yeah, do the math.
Yeah, I think it's 4. It should be, because it's like this long.
Yeah. That would make sense.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
4 is a good number.
I think a Volca has like 6, a Uno has 4. Yeah. Awesome. I just have a little look here on the back because I'm seeing some other stuff here because it says MIDI in and MIDI through.
Yes. So yeah, we have output on 1/4-inch jacks. We just wanted to keep the audio out a bit still proper.
Yeah.
Headphones, and the headphones actually are split from this output. The main volume, when you turn that, there's a little headphone icon, and I maxed this out because I was in the busy show. I was gonna say showroom, but it's more of a show teepee.
Yeah.
We're in a weird tent, but it's also cool. You can adjust how much juice is coming out of the headphones at maximum, because some headphones are easily driven, and this volume gets quite hot sometimes. So just to not explode people's ears, the default is around this mark, and when you max it out, it actually is maximum output on the 1/4-inch jacks, the main output, but the headphone volume is a bit lower. So,
but they could they definitely drive a couple of ATH, M50.
It can drive most headphones.
Right, you get
when you get up to like 300 ohms, it will still be okay.
Yeah.
And,
all right.
Yeah. So that's the outputs, and then we have MIDI. We have MIDI on 3.5 millimeter jacks.
Okay, so it's a dongle. It's a dongle. It's a MIDI dongle. It's a DIN 5 to 3.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's a dongle. I mean, the problem with MIDI jacks, and the reason why there are so many dongle solutions, is that they add so much height to the manufacturing, the PCB and the unit, and that means if you want to keep a low profile unit, it's very difficult to add MIDI jack, so a DIN jack. So this is sort of a trade-off. But what's very nice about this implementation, what you can do is, there are 2 standards, because you're connecting the wires in different. I think Korg has one way of doing it, Arturia has another, or something like that. But this one you can switch the polarity, so it doesn't matter what sort of if you have like a lot of those dongles lying around, or if you forgot it and you're out and you're like, oh no, this is this and that dongle, but then you can just switch the polarity and it will work out.
One thing I was thinking about is that a lot of people were talking about, why would you choose the model samples if you could get like a used like Digitakt? Okay, so the thing is, first of all, I want to say what I found. People don't sell the Digitakts that easily, all right? I tried to find several ones, and it wasn't simple. I found some, and as soon as I found one, they disappeared just like that. I just couldn't get one. It was like impossible. And whenever I did call someone and they said they have it, then they said, okay, how much more can you give me? Because I have 3 other guys or people calling me about this. And I'm like, okay, that's my range. So I had to just, give up. And then I'm thinking like, what is the difference between these? Now I can see the difference on top of this instantly. But what is your take? I want to hear someone from Elektron tell me why. Why should I get a model samples over a used Digitakt?
I think you should get the device that you want. And so, I mean, making these devices is all about providing options. Like, it's interesting because I was very involved with the Digitakt when it was released, and I very closely followed like all the buzz around it, and the sort of it's too simple. That it was the same sort of thing around the Digitakt, and then people realized that the workflow is different, and same sort of goes for this. It's an option to other things, and it does things a little bit differently, and the result will be a little bit different too, because you're interfacing differently, you're thinking differently when you're using this. So it's all about which machine gives you the right vibe, and what do you like working with. Both have their pros and cons in different ways. If you don't want to sample, or you just want to like jam out, make some drum beats, this one makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit faster to work with in terms of just like laying down a beat and changing it quickly and having everything available to you at all times. And if you want to sample stuff and cut that up and be a bit more in depth and you know, get knee deep into the whole Elektron workflow thing, the Digitakt is for you. So I would say get the machine that gives you the right feeling.
Yeah, you sound like I do on my channel, because people are always asking me like, which one is best? And I don't subscribe to the concept of best or worst or like that. If I compare something, it usually ends up with, I don't know which one is best. What do you need? And when it comes to synthesizers, I tell people, judge with your ears, what you like. And if your ears like it, then does your hands and eyes like it? Yeah. If that's a thing, then does the price matter to you? Because you could save money for something, or you could get something more affordable, but you have to like what you hear first and the workflow of it. And for me, there seems to be I haven't used the Digitakt, but I've seen a lot of people use it and talk about it. I've seen a lot of videos because I did my research, because I was trying to get a used one, right? Yeah. But then you came up with this one, and the first thing I saw was all of these knobs. And I'm working on iOS a lot, and I work on smaller stuff. I do a lot of menu diving and a lot of synths, and sometimes it's really nice to just go for knobs many times, especially when you're doing live things. And for me, it feels like this thing was really designed to be used like live and really perform with. That's a big thing for me, because I've had troubles finding something that could tie all of my gear together like that. The only thing I think is missing on this is like a sync port.
A sync port?
Like a
stuff
click track or something.
Yeah. That would have been nice.
First thing I was thinking, like, there's a 3.5 there, and that's Midi, but it's not really the same thing, because you have like optocouplers in between, and I don't think that will work. I just want to thank you so much for coming and doing this with me,
Thank you for having me. It was really pleasant.
This is awesome. And if you want to check out their stuff, you go to their site and do that. But by the way, this is a Swedish product, so that makes me very proud, you know, as a Swede. That's pretty awesome, right? Yeah, absolute. So thank you so much for watching. And as usual, just put your comments down below what you think about the model samples. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Put forward your thoughts. Maybe the guys here will look at my little channel and the content and everything.
Probably.
Yeah, so as usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it. Thanks, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, it
was awesome.
Well,
are we done?
If you say you're done, then yes.
Then we are done. Det där var grymt, man.
Ja,
fan. Tack så mycket, man. Det var skitcoolt. Jag älskar den. Jag absolut älskar den.
Jag glömde säga att den gör Midi-sequencing också.
That's cute.